I was reading a article in a Time magazine about NFL players and, of course, CTE, the studies, and they were talking about CBG, which a lot of people have never even heard of, and saying that it could potentially regenerate dead brain tissue. And they were thinking about making a pill, a pregame pill, to let NFL players consume this to protect their brain during the game, and that really had my interest. I've been following the science for a long time, and knew that there was a correlation between the THC and the healing of brain trauma, and so I ended up, through a friend, talking to somebody that dealt with CBDs. They had their own CBD company, and I ended up partnering with them, making RVD CBD, and I try out every single product and tweak a lot of them, or turn them down, but don't put anything out that I haven't tried myself. And CBG, by the way, is a lot like a stem cell in the respects that it's CBG is an early life stage cannabinoid that can then grow into something else and become a CBD or a THC.
Right, so it's like a pre before it goes into CBD or THC, really. So it's not really one or the other at that stage.
Right. So there's a lot of value in getting that. The CBG dominant plants, which, you got a lot of the other plant compared to how much of it is CBG, even if you're growing them generationally dominant with the CBG, but it's a process. And, until recently, it was illegal to study cannabis in the United States anyway. Since 1947, it was illegal to study marijuana. Now that we're able to actually look at it, now we're learning it's not just something that gets you high, because that's all we knew was THC. Now everybody is starting to understand, but there's over 100 different cannabinoids in the plant. CBD, and THC are just two of them. CBN, CBG are just two more, but over 100. And we're really just getting into the studies. It's the most resourceful plant on the planet. And when it comes to the medicinal benefits, we're just starting to learn what we're going to be able to do by manipulating and combining the cannabinoids in whatever favored fashion we want to do.
It's crazy to think that like a plant that is so beneficial in many different ways. Like I watched a documentary not too long ago on Hulu, and it was basically like the history of marijuana and the benefits of it. And they had like this young family with young kids who had like diagnosed with leukemia. You know what I mean? Like they'd have every treatment. They would basically said like 6 months, and then they, as a last resort, tried cannabis treatment, and then everything started to, you know what I mean, like slow down. These kids' lives are like, you know what I mean, now 8 years past, these kids are still alive and running around kicking, and healthy kids.
Yeah, it's crazy that it gets so much pushback, but that's how the world works. It's all for profit. And the fact that the plant could put like 80% of everything out of business is a serious threat, because it's not just, we used to know you can make some shitty clothes with hemp, and then we know you can smoke it, but man, you can do anything, like not just like the lumber in the walls, but the paint, everything. You can make shampoo, you can eat it. Henry Ford made a car out of hemp that ran on hemp seed oil. And that hurts Rockefeller's pocket, because he makes his money off of oil, and so that's why it's been since 1936. This guy Harry Anslinger, he was the head of the FBN, which was the equivalent of today's DEA, and this guy had a hard on for marijuana. He went and campaigned all over states, went to schools, invited parents to come out and watch that ridiculous movie Reefer Madness.
Yeah, I remember watching that as a teenager and going, "This is ridiculous shit." You know what I mean? Like, but I feel like I feel like anyone who is like that against marijuana just needs to hit it one time, and they'd be like, "It's pretty fucking good," you know, like to experience it. You know, like it is, man. But you know, have you found like, you know, because like, you know, you had a severe concussion a little while ago that was well documented a few years ago, and you know, being a cannabis user and now like, you know, obviously you finding these different, you know, cannabinoids to use. Have you found those benefiting and helping, you know, your recovery from that concussion?
Yes, I have, and I do a lot, so it's hard to sometimes put my finger on exactly what it is that's helping because I did the stem cells and I didn't get that good of reaction from it, and then I started doing red light therapy, and I did get good reaction from that, and I also tried the oxygen chamber, and I take a lot of different supplements, and a lot of times when there's a brain pill, I'll try it. Um, Sometimes it's gummies or whatever. That's still something that I want to have my brand on is some kind of a brain pill, and we are working on that. But that's always going to be like the backbone of motivation for me, and that is why I started the company because a lot of my peers have head trauma, and a lot of them have died eventually, either from opiate overdoses or from straight up suicide. Both of those being linked back to the brain trauma, and so I lost a lot of friends that way, and that motivated me to want to get into the fight, get into the studies, get into the world, and so it's been great making these products available to more people. RVDCBD.com is the best place to go. We don't ship it internationally right now, but um, helping a lot of people with that, but still working on the ultimate brain formula, though, something that I know will help a lot of people. But yeah, I feel there's certain times I just feel a lot more clarity, and my memory amazes me. Um, I'm a lot of times I'm like trying to put my finger on, what can I give credit for that too.
Yeah. And I think that like the like what you're doing now is trying to find other avenues to help people that are in like, you know, professional wrestling or combat sports that, you know, if we can start avoiding, you know, history repeating itself, so to speak. You know what I mean? Because like wrestling is a very physical business, and when you're at the level that you were at, you know, for a very very long time, you know, working nearly every night, like it's, you know, you put your body through so much, and that's why I respect professional wrestlers so much, because of the grind that they do. You know, like you have to respect that.
Yeah, and we didn't know back in the day that concussions could lead to any kind of a long-term brain damage. There wasn't talks about that. I knew there was something called punch drunk that boxers would get when they're older after having a lot of matches where they're kind of loopy or whatever. I understood that, but I didn't make those connections with me knocking my head silly every once in a while and having everything just spin, or sometimes everything being slow motion for a second. I just figured that was just part of the job. I got whacked in the head and just had to shake it off usually, and just went right back onto the match. And then, after all the studies were showing what the brains look like after they've been atrophied from the damage, and especially CTE and all the top proteins sitting on it, making it inoperable almost. They kind of changed everything. Just like, hey, I go with the science.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you have to. I think you